Hey everyone. So this is a little bit out of the ordinary for me. When I started this channel, I really wasn't interested in doing reviews, or at least straight up reviews of one specific fragrance. But this is a special case. I was at Neiman's yesterday, and they found for me in their inventory system the final bottle that they have anywhere in the country, to their name, of Tom Ford's Japon Noir. And this is not the bottle. This is the original one I have. And they are transferring it to my store here in Boston. They've reserved it for me, and I decided I'm going to split it so that everybody can get in on this, since it is out of production. There's no indication that it will ever come back. And personally, this is one of my favorite juices that I have in my collection, and I think a lot of people this would be a great addition to your wardrobe. So I'll get to the split details in a minute. I just want to go over a few things with this, since getting in on this split would be a blind buy for just about everyone. This was not very popular when it was out. Very much flew under the radar, which is one of the reasons why it was discontinued, or retired, as Tom Ford calls it. So, quickly, let's go through the notes here. It's got an odd combination. They're listed as a spice bouquet, whatever that means. Bergamot, patchouli, night blooming jasmine, leather, amber, vetiver, and then the final one of Porto Noir. I googled Porto Noir. I looked everywhere I could find. There's no description of it. My guess is that it has some type of booziness to it. Porto sort of comes from wine. I don't know. That's completely out of the blue. If anybody knows what it is, please let me know, because I couldn't find a single description of what that was. So that's that. Really, the main dominant notes here are going to be the leather, the patchouli, and it's not listed as a note, but this has a very, very much of an incense-y feel to it. Like I said, incense is not a note in this, at least formally, but if you smell it, it does have an incense-y feel to it. So, I think the best way for me to review this would be to list off a few different fragrances that this shares some similarities with. The first one is Cruel Intentions by Killian. They both share a smoky vetiverness. Vetiverness, that's not a word. Cruel Intentions has a more defined vetiver to it, whereas this really, vetiver's not a main player here. It's there. It's not non-existent, but it's in the background. But the smokiness of both of them, how Cruel Intentions has I don't know, I'm not as familiar with that one, but that would be one. Certainly not saying that they are the same. None of the ones that I'm going to list here are the same. This is incredibly unique. This is one of the most unique juices I've ever come across. So finding something that's similar to it is not easy. Certainly finding something that shares a lot of the same similarities, not just one or two, is almost impossible. But Cruel Intentions would be one, the vetiver smokiness. Second one would be Tom Ford Extreme. They both share an inky, smoky booziness. Tom Ford Extreme has a lot going on in it. Personally, I think that while it's very good juice, it has a few too many notes. I think he bit off a bit more that he could chew with that one. That if he'd taken out a few things and focused a little bit more, would have been better. But they're both very complex. They're both very unique. This one does have a lot of descriptions I've read of it listed as kind of inky. And it sort of is. It's got a really odd, smoky, inky feel to it. It's really the best way I can describe it. And obviously Tom Ford Extreme does have various booze notes in it. This, again, I'm taking a guess here with this Porto Noir thing. This does have sort of a boozy feel to it, which is kind of a combination of the inkiness, but I don't know. It's a complete guess as to whether or not that Porto Noir thing is a boozy thing or not. So that's that. Some other comparisons I've read have been various Comme des Garçons juices. I know they do a lot of incense-based fragrances. I personally don't have any experience with them, so I can't really comment too much on that, but I've seen a few comparisons to some of their fragrances, mostly, again, the Incense-Y Feel. Another one that I thought was interesting, which it took me a while to figure this out, and I was sitting around here all day smelling this and trying to find some comparisons, and this one, I don't know. I finally got it. I finally got the comparison after reading it, and that's Dior Homme. Now, let me preface this by saying this does not have an iris note or the makeup note that Dior Homme is known for at all. That is not in here. Do not get that impression of this. A lot of people think Dior Homme has a very feminine side to it. This does not. This is one of the more masculine private blends from the whole line, actually. But where Dior Homme and this share similarities would be in the sort of the dry leather, again, the inkiness, and obviously the vetiver. It's that dry leather. That's what I finally picked up on after smelling it for a while. There's a similarity there. Again, they're not the same. Don't get this and expect to get Dior Homme. You're not going to get it. They're very different in a lot of ways. But they do share that similarity with the, as I said, the dry leather, this little bit of the inkiness, and some vetiver dry down. The vetiver is more prominent in Dior Homme, but again, similar. So what is this? Take the comparisons that I just gave you and think of this as a smoky, very slightly sweet. There's a very slight sweetness to this. Some people think it's more sweet than others. I personally don't get a lot. This is by no means a sugar bomb. It's not a sugary sweetness. It's kind of a... I think it comes from the patchouli and jasmine combination. I personally dislike jasmine a lot. It's one of my least favorite notes. It does not do well on my skin. I hate it. I have no problem with it in this. So either it's not that prominent, it's a different type of jasmine, or it's just blended extraordinarily well so that you can't pick up on it solely. But I think the combination of the jasmine and the patchouli in this is what gives it its sweetness. But it certainly is by no means a very overwhelming sweetness. There is, again, that incense feel to it. It's very unique. Really, I'm having a very difficult time describing this, and I've been asked numerous times, both since I opened this split and in the past, what this smells like, and it's very hard to describe. A couple of drawbacks to this: it does smell synthetic. This does, specifically that inkiness, really gives it a synthetic feeling. Now, personally, it doesn't. That's not bad for me, because in a lot of ways, that's what it's supposed to smell like. You know, ink in itself is kind of has a synthetic feel. It has a synthetic smell. Smoke, you know, sure, there's a natural smoke smell, but that's not exactly not really something you would expect to find a terribly natural smell of, per se. So it does have, if you really, really dislike synthetic things, synthetic scents, maybe you won't like this. I mean, certainly this is not, something like a chrome that has ridiculously synthetic and fake and poorly done citrus notes and things like that. I think it's just that the notes that are in here give off a synthetic vibe. So that could be one thing. This is by no means a safe fragrance. This is very odd. It's very different. There are very few things on the market that are comparable to this, as I showed with my difficulty in comparing this. Somebody on Facebook asked me, is this a complex scent or a sexy scent? My response was, well, first of all, it's very complex. There's a lot going on here. Second of all, it could be very much an intimate, sexy scent for some people. It could put off some. I'm sure it would, because it's very different. But that's the risk you run when you wear things that are not conventional. You're going to put off some people who aren't going to like it. It's the nature of the territory. So this could put off some. Maybe the excess smokiness to it might not be the best. So I would not wear this on a first date. By no means would I wear this on a first date. This is the kind of thing you wear around someone that you know likes it, or you know likes that genre. Dark, mysterious scents. The plus side is you're not going to find somebody else wearing this. If you wear this out somewhere, you're going to be the only one wearing it. So you will be very, very unique in what you smell like if you have this on. And I could very much foresee this being an attention getter, if for no other reason than people wondering, what are you wearing? More that they're interested in it, even if they don't like it, because it is a very, I think one of the most accurate descriptions I read was a tweet from Julio, New York fragrance blog. He said he tweeted once, a couple of years ago actually, he said, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. This is one of the most mesmerizing fragrances. He used the hashtag olfactory art, and that's incredibly true with this. There's a lot to get your head around, or your nose figuratively, around with this. So that's that. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of a better insight into this. I'm not a reviewer. I'm basically just winging this, so I'm not by any means, terribly good at providing a review, so to speak, as you've seen with other reviewers out there. But anyways, the split with this, there are a couple of spots that have been taken already on base notes. I'm only doing 25 and 50 milliliter portions with this again. 50 milliliters is $113, including shipping in the U.S. 25 is $63, which includes shipping in the U.S. If you are outside of the U.S., let me know and I can work out a price. If you are international, again, I will ship it correctly and as safely as possible. However, I can't track it once it leaves the U.S. So unless you want to pay $40 or $50 for express shipping, which USPS offers tracking on, then there is no tracking option for international orders, and I absolve myself of any responsibility for customs issues or whatnot. So, of course, I keep all receipts for all shipments, so if I ship internationally, I'll have the customs receipts and whatnot, but I cannot track it. That is that. I haven't decided exactly how much I'm going to take, because I do have some, but not much. I haven't decided if I'm going to take 25 or 50 milliliters, but there are 2 people on base notes who reserved 50 milliliter spots. So that means there are at the least 100 milliliters left in the split. And once it's gone, it's gone. There's no second bottle of this. The only place you're going to find any of this is on eBay or through some secondhand source. So I haven't bothered checking through Saks or through Nordstrom but they do not have it online, and my Tom Ford rep at Neiman's had to search through their computer inventory system for some time before they found it. So this may very well be the last flacon available anywhere. It is the last one in Neiman's. I can't imagine too many others are lying around anywhere. So once it's done, and I will not be able to split a second bottle. I do not trust buying this off eBay, so I won't do it. So that's that. Let me know if you want in or if you have any further questions about it. I'd be happy to answer this as best as I can to try and help you decide whether or not this is something for you. And we'll go from there. All right, guys. See you later.